I used to freeze every time someone spoke to me in English. My heart would beat fast, my mouth stayed shut, and I felt lost. I remember one moment clearly. A tourist asked me for directions. I understood him, but I couldn't answer. I just smiled awkwardly and pointed. He walked away, and I stood there, feeling ashamed. I had studied English for years, so why couldn't I speak when I needed to? At first, I thought the problem was vocabulary. I didn't know enough words, right? So I started memorizing lists 100 new words every week. I wrote them, read them, and repeated them. But when I tried to speak, the words wouldn't come out. My mouth didn't work the way my brain did. I knew the words in my mind, but my tongue didn't follow. I realized knowing English is not the same as speaking English. Then I blamed grammar. Maybe I didn't know enough rules. So I spent hours learning tenses, prepositions, articles, and irregular verbs. I became good at grammar exercises. My writing improved, and I could fill in the blanks on worksheets. But still, I couldn't speak. I couldn't hold a simple conversation without fear. Grammar made me overthink every sentence. I was too scared of making mistakes. That's when I asked myself a hard question. Am I really practicing speaking? The answer was no. I was reading, writing, and listening, but not speaking. Speaking was the one skill I avoided because it made me uncomfortable. But that was my biggest mistake. I wasn't learning to use English in real life. I was just collecting knowledge. So I made a promise to myself. I will speak English every day. I started small. I talked to myself in English at home. Simple sentences like, I'm brushing my teeth, or the weather is nice today. At first, it felt strange. I laughed at myself sometimes, but slowly it became normal. I got used to hearing my own voice in English. My brain started building connections between thoughts and words. I wasn't just studying English anymore, I was living it. Then came the real test, talking to others. I joined an online language exchange app. I met people who wanted to practice English too. At first, I was nervous. My voice shook, and I apologized for every mistake. But the people I met were kind and patient. They didn't laugh or correct me harshly. They listened. That helped me relax. I realized that mistakes are part of learning, not something to fear. I remember one partner from Brazil. She said, "You're doing great. Don't worry about being perfect." That made a big impact on me. Before, I thought people would judge me. But most learners understand the struggle. They're also learning. They don't care if your grammar is perfect, they care if you try. That mindset helped me a lot. I stopped aiming for perfection and started focusing on communication. Soon, I added more ways to practice. I recorded voice messages to myself. I read stories out loud. I listened to podcasts and repeated what I heard. I even sang English songs when no one was around. Bit by bit, my confidence grew. I started speaking without translating. I used simple words, but I spoke clearly. Speaking became fun, not scary. And for the first time, I felt like I was making real progress. Then came the big moment. I had to give a short English speech in front of my class. I was nervous, but I prepared well. I practiced it many times in front of the mirror. On the day of the speech, my hands were cold, but I took a deep breath and started. I made a few small mistakes, but I didn't stop. When I finished, my classmates clapped. Some even said, "Great job." I couldn't believe it. I had done it. That day changed everything. I realized something important. Confidence doesn't come from knowing everything. It comes from doing, from trying, from speaking even when you're scared. I used to be the shy one in the back of the class, afraid to say a word. Now, I'm not afraid to speak. I don't worry about sounding perfect. I focus on being understood, on connecting with people through English. Learning English is a long journey, and it's not always easy. There are days when you feel stuck, days when you doubt yourself, I had many of those, but I didn't give up. I kept going, one small step at a time. I spoke to myself, then to strangers, then to friends, and finally to an audience. Each time, I became braver, and slowly, I turned fear into confidence, mistakes into lessons, silence into speech. If you're struggling to speak English, I understand. I've been there, but I want to tell you this. You can do it. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to try. Speak a little every day. Don't wait until you feel ready. You'll never feel 100% ready. Start now. Even if it's just one sentence. Even if it's just talking to yourself in your room. Every word you speak brings you closer to confidence. Now, let me ask you, what's one small action you can take today to get closer to the confident English speaker you want to be? You've got the power to change your story. Keep going. Your English voice is waiting to be heard and the world is ready to listen. If this story helped you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's also learning English. Together, let's grow more confident one word at a time. Thank you for watching.